At this point, I should probably look at having some sort of clever title and fancy editing and all that stuff to, kind of spice this up a little bit, make it look nice and sound good. But for now, I got to get my thoughts out before I forget what the hell I want to talk about. So anyway, if you have ideas for what this, little series should be called, I guess, strength training tips in the car, something. I'm sure you have something better than that, so shoot them my way. Anyway, what I was going to talk about is something I had some trainees do today, where we broke sets up. We wanted to accomplish 20 total reps, and we did that by doing a single rep every 30 seconds. So the question is, well, why would you do that? Why would you not do 4 sets of 5 or 5 sets of 4 or 1 set of 20? You could do all of it. But the main reason that, there's a couple reasons actually, but the main reason why we had this group this morning do singles every 30 seconds is this. It helped us consolidate our time and also retain very high quality, because you got to remember that the guys who come in the military, it does not by default make them athletic. Doesn't by default mean that they've lifted weights, and have any training experience to speak of, as far as outside of the basic calisthenics and running and all that stuff. So a lot of them have never touched a weight before, and we really have to hammer home basic mechanics of squatting, deadlifting, pushes, pulls, carries, all that stuff. And what will happen with higher repetition training, like higher repetition within a set, is you'll notice the quality will begin to deteriorate. And that's due to fatigue, lack of awareness due to not enough training time, not enough time under the bar, stuff like that. But the other thing it limits us on is how much load we can put on the system. So by doing a single, it allows these guys to really focus on just doing that one repetition with the highest quality they can manage. And likely, the load on the bar is going to increase a bit more. It's going to be, they're going to get stronger a little bit quicker. So we'll do this for work capacity purposes as well, because, say we wanted to do 3 sets of 10, so we're looking at 30 total reps. Well, they're at a point where they don't have enough experience yet to maintain the technique for 10 total reps in a row. So we might do something like 10 sets of 3 and cut the rest time down. But there's a lot of different ways to get strong. There's a lot of different methods. But the core principles will never change. The core principles are going to be technique, full range of motion, in range of motion, and then the most fundamental principle is progressive overload. So in some way, you have to put more load on the bar. And a lot of people will get caught up in just trying to only focus on 1 rep maxes. And there's certainly times where that is appropriate. You should be pushing towards the higher end of the 1 rep max threshold. However, you just have to understand, what's the risk reward look like if you're going to pursue 1 rep max, and then what is the fatigue associated with that. And then a question I always think back to is this: is there a safer, not that any exercise is inherently dangerous, but is there an alternative exercise that gives us the same benefit, if not more, for a lower risk? If so, I'm going to go with that one. And you also need to remember that the bulk of the folks that I work with very large groups, and then some individuals, one-on-one basis later on. But the majority of my work is in very large groups where we'll have at least 15 people at a time, and we'll go upwards of 60. So when I'm writing programs and having individuals go through training, a tip is this. I think of who is the dumbest person in the room and how can they screw it up. And then I work backwards from there, and that's one of the ways that I will pick and assign exercises. Now, I don't go through and give the guys an IQ test or anything like that, but it's just something to keep in the back of your mind when you're working with larger groups, is who could possibly screw this up? What could they do to screw this up? And how can I mitigate injury by picking more appropriate exercises? So when you're picking exercises, you have one that's your target, and then you can have one that's a progression if somebody's more advanced, and you can also have one that's a regression if somebody's struggling to hit the target. So anyway, just some thoughts for your own training, some things you can do. Start playing around with those intervals. You can vary the rest period, you can vary the load, and kind of spices it up a little bit, because I think sometimes people get too caught up in doing the exact same shit all the time, and that can be problematic in terms of you start not getting as good of results because your body has become accustomed or used to the body started to figure out what's coming down the pipe. So you have to change the load, you have to change the angle, you need to change something to essentially ask the body a new question so that it has a new training adaptation that it is going to pursue. So just some thoughts there. If you have questions, comments, comment below, shoot me a DM, or you can send me an email directly, travis@dhpcoaching.net. Have a good day.